that's valid today or
Well,
more?
2010 was kind of right around the time that cloud services were beginning to get popular. You know, you're an expert in that area. So we were just starting, like the iPhone was only a couple of years old. So
Yes.
we were starting to see the early glimpses
Yes.
of what we now take for granted. So, so that time, 2010, I would say that a lot was applicable. You go back a few more years, say pre iPhone, maybe a lot wasn't, because who would have predicted the impact that Apple and that now all these cloud services and social media and YouTube and so on would have had. You go back far enough, like 2005, there was really no YouTube, no social, not much of social media, a little bit of the early underpinnings of some um, very, very, very early views of what social media would look like. But certainly mobility had not reached the point where it was now. And then you go even further back, which for you and I doesn't seem that long ago. You're in 1993, 94.
Yeah.
That doesn't seem like, as
No.
you get older, that just seems like 5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
But there was no World Wide Web then.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking comparison between today versus 2010, but I mean, Ed, if you really look at it from 1988, I mean,
Yeah,
that's
different
a big
world then.
difference. It's a different world.
And you know what's funny? You go back and you look at some industries, like if you and I were taking an airplane trip, like
Yeah,
from New York to
yeah,
California in
yeah,
1990, and
yes,
then you fast forward to now, it's not changed that much, really. In fact, frankly, it's probably gotten worse. Right?
yeah, yeah,
But I mean, the planes are more or less the same. Technology is the same. Takes about as much time. Costs about as much. Just as
yeah, but
cramped as you were
yeah, but I
before.
think during the travel time, I think it's gone a little better because of the streaming content that they give during travel time.
Maybe
Uh,
that's one minor thing. But the point is, when you look at that industry and you compare 30 years, the
yes,
progress is minor. But in computing, the progress from, say, 1990 to now is remarkable. Even more so going back to the 60s
hmm
to about the 2010, that let's say from 68 to 2008, that 40-year period, I would argue that that was the most influential 40-year period in the history of human beings, more so than, say, 1890 to 1930, when
yes,
all physics was, when Einstein and others were thinking through. You go back to the time of Gutenberg, when he was inventing the printing press, you would argue that Gutenberg's invention had a greater impact on the world. I would argue that the internet has had a deeper and more profound impact on everything
hmm
than maybe almost any invention you can think of.